there? Mr. Kagarura. She was picked by Mr. Mpungu. She met Mr. Kagarura. In November 2023, she approached a hospital attendant undisclosed in November 2023. And that hospital attendant, that is when we objected. Now that evidence, she found a divisional CID at Congo Bibiana. My Lord, none of that evidence is before us. It certainly doesn't appear in Mrs. Katanga's statement. And it would have even been excusable. But the fact of the matter is that even on that date, undisclosed date in November 2023, there is no statement. The statement of Mrs. Katanga is dated January 2024. Is the authority for Chemonges, can the Chemonges authority, can the Odele authority, and can the Uganda versus Okumuregan authority be authority for trial by ambush? Can it be authority for can it be authority for a prosecution bringing a witness to tell a story that they have not told the defense? My Lord, the prosecution, respectfully, throughout this trial, treats pre-trial disclosure as a favor being extended. My Lord, there is no favor in pre-trial disclosure. Quite the contrary. Pre-trial disclosure is a right. It is a right that an accused person is entitled to. It is a right long established in our courts. As the defense has said, if this witness's evidence is limited to what was disclosed to the defense, i.e. that she recorded a statement, if it is limited to that statement, that is one thing. If it is speaking about circumstances, the argument that it's curable by cross-examination, respectfully is, I'm looking for the respectful word. But even if she had recorded a statement, she would be cross-examined. Cross-examination isn't a cure, it is a right. But you cannot cross-examine on matters which have not been disclosed to you. If the prosecution wishes to elicit testimony from a witness that he didn't disclose, that is an underhanded prosecution. So it is I'm just following up on authority. Again, my Lord, even the circumstances of the application, the prosecution comes to court with authorities well knowing that it is intended as an ambush. And clearly, my Lord, as I'm getting at authority, if I can go quickly to the Okumuregan authority. Again, Okumuregan is not authority for not disclosing at all. Certainly is not, it's certainly not authority for not disclosing. The decision in Okumuregan, my Lord, is that pre-trial, on page 8 of that decision, it says that pre-trial disclosure of witnesses to be called is a means of discouraging and exposing fabrication, inaccuracy, and collusion. The public interest in the orderly conduct of criminal trials is sufficient to justify the imposition and enforcement of firm, though not always inflexible, rules relating to the identification and presentation of prosecution evidence. All should be geared at satisfying the public interest in a full and truthful disclosure of critical facts before trial. To be effective, the principle must be applied with equal force to the prosecution and to the accused. So, my Lord, the Chairman asked me to repeat, so let me repeat. The public interest in the ordinary conduct of criminal trials is sufficient to justify the imposition and enforcement of firm, though not always inflexible, rules relating to the identification and presentation of evidence. Now, my Lord, you also realize that this is a revision from a decision in my Lord, I think this is the one they had supplied to court. Yes. This is not the one they had supplied to court. This is Okumu. I'm reading Okumu at page 8. I'm still using it. I'm still using it. So, my Lord, at the heart of this dispute is simple, plain forward constitutional law. Is simple, plain forward the right to a fair hearing. And that right includes the right to pre-trial disclosure of all evidence the prosecution seeks to rely upon. If my Lord, if the prosecution can be allowed to introduce evidence through the back door, claiming that this is disclosed by her writing her name on Mrs. Katanga's statement. It's therefore they have disclosed to us that she went in November 2023. Then there's a total mockery of fairness in criminal trials. My Lord, the defense would have been entitled to know what happened in November 2023. What she alleges happened in November 2023. It would have been entitled to cross-check what happened in November 2023. It would have been entitled to interview, certainly, its own witnesses regarding events in November 2023. It would have been entitled to know, for example, which hospital attendant was present in November 2023. But to know fully well that they intend to elicit this information, to have it, to start leading it, that opens room for unfairness and frankly for fabrication. And to say that you have a right to stand up immediately after and cross-examine is, my Lord, an incredible, incredible prayer. My Lord, I will just my Lord, I'm looking to quote for you some provisions of the decision in Son Kiyong. And also, my Lord will, I apologize for the difficulty in immediately getting the authorities. As my Lord will see, my learned friends came knowing that an objection will come. They came prepared because, like anyone on an ambush, they came prepared. My Lord, nonetheless, there are a number of authorities, and I just want to rely on some of them that I pray are more persuasive. On disclosure. My Lord, the primary requirement for disclosure my Lord, the state must disclose all material which is known or possessed on which ought to be disclosed. That is the law. And from there is a Kenyan decision, my Lord, I'm going to cite it shortly, but it's saying that the plain reading of the duty imposed upon the prosecution is to make available all the evidence in their possession to the defense without restricting the same. Full disclosure is neither restrictive nor conditional. Prosecution should not be made to withhold some evidence which it intends to use in the trial from other accused persons. Prosecution of a criminal case is like a web. What may not directly touch on the accused can indirectly or circumstantially connect or touch on any other accused person. To restrict production or supply of information or evidence will go against the spirit of full disclosure of evidence to the defense, contrary to what is envisaged in the Constitution. The accused persons are not going to be overburdened by reading the prosecution evidence. The court then says, it's a revision application, my Lord, that I'm quoting. The decision I'm quoting, my Lord, is a revision application in the High Court of Kenya at Nairobi, Peter Aguko Abok. In the DPP versus Peter Aguko Abok, we shall supply.
My Lord, does he need to share that new authority?
Well, I'll forward it to him. Unlike him, I came into an ambush. So I will share the authority.
DPP versus Peter?
Peter Aguko Abok, which was in the Kenyan case of revision application number 42 of 2019 in the High Court of Kenya.
Number 42?
Yes, of 2019. Now, it was dealing with disclosure as per count, but I think the essence of disclosure, they say, was aptly captured. An accused person, this is at...
I want the full citation of the application.
I'll send it to you. But if I can continue, I'll send him the authority. Every charge, and it says that it is tried. The right to be, they then quote in that case, they quote the case of the two Imwangi and two others. The right to be provided with the material the prosecution wishes to rely on is not a one-off event. The disclosure of evidence, inculpatory and exculpatory, is dealt with as the issue to provide the material is a continuing one.
The court the keso Kitui.
Thuita Mwangi. Thuita. For basically stating the general principles. But the general principles, though, my lord, are more fully and elaborately set out in our Court of Appeal decision of Sun Kong versus the Attorney General. And also in the Kenyan case of Juma, which was relied upon by the Constitutional Court. And in that case, my lord, in the Constitutional Court provided in Uganda that an interpretation of Article 28 of the Constitution, which provides that an accused person shall be accorded all the facilities to defend themselves. That facilities means the resources, the convenience, and the means which makes it easier to achieve their purpose. The unimpeded opportunity for doing something favorable to them. And they say that that is a full and open access to the prosecution case, so that the prosecution does not gain an unfair or undeserved advantage over the accused, so that the accused is not impeded in any manner, so that the prosecution does not suffer any unfair advantage and prejudice. These provisions of the Constitution, our Constitutional Court said, can have life and practical meaning only if an accused person is provided with copies of statements made to the police by persons who will or may be called to testify as witnesses to the prosecution, as well as copies of exhibits which are to be offered in evidence for the prosecution. In an open and democratic society, this is the Constitutional Court of Uganda quoting the Kenyan court in Juma. In an open and democratic society based on freedom and equality within the rule of law as its ultimate defender, such as ours, the package constituting the right to a fair trial contains in it the right to pre-trial disclosure of material statements and exhibits. In an open and democratic society of our time, courts cannot give approval to trial by ambush. And in criminal litigation, the courts cannot adopt a procedure under which an accused person will be ambushed, subject to the rights of every person entrenched in the Constitution, including the presumption of innocence until proven guilty beyond reasonable doubt. The fundamental right to a fair hearing by its nature requires that there is an equality between the contestants in litigation. There can be no true equality if legal process allows one party to withhold material information from his adversary without just cause or peculiar circumstances. So my lord, the Constitutional Court has set out two criteria: just cause and peculiar circumstances. And my lord, they are saying there is no greater unfairness, than for one, there is no greater attack even on the presumption of innocence and the rights enshrined in the Constitution. There is no greater inequality if one party can withhold material information from his adversary without just cause. My lord, in this case, Mr. Mwaganya is in possession of information that that witness went to IHK in November 2023. That is not information that anybody on the defense side has. That is not information the accused person has. Mr. Mwaganya and my learned friends are in possession of information of who she interacted with. That is what information we have. The requirement, he says there's no requirement for a statement. The Sun decision is the one, my lord, that is instructive. For him not to disclose her statement, there must be exceptions within the decision of Sun. The Sun decision, my lord, is binding on this honorable court.
Council,
Yes.
I think this is becoming law. Let me propose a way forward.
Yes.
Let us have submissions. Many cases are being written submissions. Many cases are being cited. Court has to also look at those cases in totality, because we don't know what is being picked, whether it's being picked out of context or not. We need to have submissions. But in the meantime, we can continue, and then when the submissions come, a ruling will be made. And whatever is found to be contrary to the ruling will be expunged from the record.
My Lord, can I make an additional proposal?
Yes, propose.
My Lord, I pray that instead this witness be limited to the events of January, and then if we have to go back to the events of November, we first make a ruling on that, and then we put it on the record.
Let her go.
Because the prejudicial effects.
We will expunge it if it is against the ruling. With the number of authorities being voted, and the nature of the submissions, and the impact of the matter objected to, I think we owe this court submissions, and with copies of those authorities. I'm going to give you schedules, but she's going to proceed, and if the ruling comes out that something has to be expunged, it will be expunged, and it will be placed on the record that that part of it is expunged.
Much obliged, my Lord. Thank you, my Lord, for your wise guidance.
Off record, leave the flattery out.
Much obliged, my Lord, much obliged.
My Lord, in the meantime, may he return court material.
But you're going to give a submission.
Yeah, but I served them electronically.
They served you electronically, you can print. Did he not send you?
Much obliged, much obliged.
Thank you, my Lord.
So, let me give you the,
Where we ended.
but the schedule for the submission.
Oh, okay.
Copies of authorities relied on.
My Lord, today is 19th. How you came to play this role in this matter, and you were at the point when you were stating that when the male doctor was called, he led you to one of the rooms.
He led us to one of the rooms
Yes.
in the hospital. At the doorway was a male UPDF officer.
What was he doing?
He had a seat there,
Yes.
seated on the doorway. We entered with the doctor. We found Mole Katanga. We found Mole Katanga inside that room. The doctor introduced us and our purpose of being there. We usually introduce ourselves and our purpose of being there. I particularly told her that I was
And the purpose?
being there. I particularly told her that I was there to interview her and record her statement as to the death of Henry Katanga.
Interview her. Court.
She said that she was unable interviewed, and neither could she record a statement. Because her pressure was up.
Yes.
I communicated back to the Deputy Director CID who had given me the instructions. And gave her feedback. She instructed me to go back to my duty station, which was Katwe then, and continue with my normal duties. I then left with the officer whom I had come with, who was informed SSP.
Okay. Did anything follow thereafter?
In January, on 10th, 2024,
Yes.
the Deputy Director CID, Senior Commissioner of Police, Chelimo Biata, communicated again and told me that Mole Katanga had been examined by an independent medical team. And the team had established that she was able, medically capable or able, to be interviewed and a statement recorded from her.
Yes.
She told me to proceed back to IHK. She told me to proceed back to IHK and interview Mole Katanga. And accordingly, record her statement.
Yes.
I went to IHK. On arrival, I met there
On arrival, who did you meet?
the divisional CID officer of Ginger Road then, Superintendent of Police, Akongo Bibiana,
Yes.
I also met there the then regional CID officer, Senior Superintendent of Police, the then regional CID officer of Kempi East,
The name?
Senior Superintendent of Police Wathum Benson,
Yes.
I also met there two gentlemen who introduced themselves as lawyers, Mole Katanga. One of whom told me he was Kabeka Makusman, and another told me he was Jet Mwebazi.
Are they in this court?
Yes, my lord.
Who are they?
One of him is seated on the extreme, no, on the second last extreme. No, the second last extreme. of your right, my lord. Of the defense, and then the second one seated on the last extreme of the defense on your right.
Okay. My lord, the two lawyers have been identified.
I also found there a nurse. I introduced myself to the parties I had met up newly, and my purpose of being in the hospital.
Yes.
I was led to the room where Mole Katanga was by the nurse and Counsel Jet Mwebazi.
Yes.
In the room, Counsel Jet Mwebazi introduced. I equally went inside with the then divisional side officer, Akong Bibiana, was equally in the room.
You went together with, in the room with
Akong Bibiana.
Akong.
Yes, please.
Yes.
In the room, Counsel Jet introduced us to Mole Katanga, and our purpose of being at the hospital. I equally introduced myself to her. I also told her why
We are writing.
Yes, my lord.
Equally introduced.
Myself, Mole Katanga.
Yes.
I also told her why I was there, which was to get her narrative. Yes, please.
That you were there.
To get her narrative on the death of Henry Katanga.
In what language were you communicating with Mole?
We are communicating in English, my lord.
Why did you choose English?
On entering the room, there are two reasons. One, on entering the room, Counsel Jet communicated to the client, who was Mole Katanga, in English. Then two,
Counsel Jet, just be mindful that we are writing them. Let me not keep reminding you.
my lord,
Counsel Jet communicated to
Mole Katanga, who was her client, who was his client.
then to
The second one, I asked her the language that would be best communicating, and she said it would be English.
okay. What followed?
What followed, I asked her her particulars. She availed them.
Yes.
And I asked her questions in line with,
And when she availed the particulars, what did
I
you-
recorded them on a piece of paper, a plain sheet.
Yes.
I also asked her questions as to the issue that they had taken me there. and she gave me an account, or she gave me answers to the questions I had asked. And I recorded whatever she had given me on a sheet of paper. Sheet of papers, because as we recorded, they kept adding on.
Okay. After you recorded her account,
After I recorded her account, her council whom I was with all through, Council Jet Mwebaze, demanded that he read through what had been recorded.
yes,
I handed over the sheets of papers to him.
yes,
He read through. After reading through, he read the same contents to the client, back to the client. Moni Katanga.
yes,
He handed over back the sheets of papers. And I read back the same contents to Moni Katanga.
okay,
Thereafter,
after you read back to her, yes,
Moni Katanga asked, and I quote, "Have I stated well?"
who was she asking?
She was asking her counsel. Then counsel replied to her, "It is your statement." She then signed on all pages of her statement.
Yes,
And then Council Jet Mwebaze equally demanded to sign on all pages of the state, on the statement. And he signed on all pages of the statement.
why did he give any reasons for demanding to countersign his client's statement?
That ruled out any possibility of changing it. After
Jet signing,
I signed the statement, I put my particulars, my names, both names, my rank, my names, my signature, my deployment then, and then my contact numbers on the statement equally. I thanked Mole for giving us audience and council for being present throughout the exercise. And then I and Bibiana left the room.
are you in position to identify the statement that you saw recorded?
Yes, my lord, I can identify the statement.
How?
I appended my signature on it. And it must be in my handwriting.
Look at the document. Is that the statement that you recorded?
My lord, this is the statement that I recorded.
Is it dated?
It's dated, my lord.
Which date?
It's dated 10th January 2024.
Just a minute. What time did you record it?
The statement was recorded, I recorded it at 17:10, 100 hours.
Place?
It was recorded from IHK hospital.
Where did you sign, and the rest of the people that you told court signed?
My lord, the signature on top of the first page of the statement where there is a star, it is Molly Katanga who signed there. And on that very page, Jet Tumwebaze signed beside her, and he put their own Kampala Associated Advocates and put contact number 0772.
Let's go slow. What did the council Jet put against the
Council Jet
particulars?
he wrote Jet Tumwebaze underneath Kampala Associated Advocates, underneath 0772.
My lord, we are dealing with evidence. I don't even know whether that is his number, whether it's so. There is no provision that we should read this
My lord, we pray that you
evidence in
protect the
secrecy.
bar. My lord, we pray you protect the bar.
Let's put, he placed the number,
Okay.
He placed the telephone
the
number.
telephone number. Let's not read it.
Thank you, my lord.
Okay, since in my lord,
It is in his writing. It's
and my lord, since council is not contesting putting it there,
Yes,
it is
yeah,
okay.
let's leave it.
That's all.
Okay, and he placed it.
But my lord, the prayer, if the prayer is understandable, it is different when you protest.
No.
So
My lord, underneath
the number is on the statement.
underneath the
Yes.
The number is
No, don't read the number.
the number is underneath.
The number
Kampala
is underneath.
Associated Advocates.
Okay.
Yes, please.
And how about yourself?
On that very page, page 1, my signature there on appears twice in the write-up. On the second page, my lord.
Do they all sign on the second page?
Yes, my lord.
How about you?
On the second page, I didn't sign, my lord.
Did the accused sign?
Yes, my lord.
Did the lawyer sign?
Yes, my lord.
Next page.
The third page, the accused signed, the lawyer signed, and my signature is born on that very page.
The next page.
The last page, the accused signed, the lawyer signed, and I equally signed.
Was that the last page?
Yes, my lord. Page 4.
First, my lord, we want to tender the document as an exhibit. Perfect. My lord, let's just scan. We left our copy.
Pardon, you said you...
No, we are just scanning it before.
Okay. Statement is admitted in evidence and marked E59.
Yes. My lord, for the record is plain statement. Just for clarity. Plain statement. Yes.
Plain statement.
Yes, it's a plain statement.
Omujulizi ali mu kooti atugambire gali musiramu amabala gaye niwe Nalusera Shida aina emyaka 38 y'obukulu kandi ala rank ya superintendent of police. Yatugamba saa zino akolera ha Busoga North Region Headquarters egekara Kamuli. Yatugamba mu January y'omwaka gwe 2024 akaba nakolera akaba CID regional CID officer nakolera Katwe. Yatugamba nti bakamu omulimo gwo interviewinga kandi recording statement kuruga mu Amole Katanga. Yatugamba mu November 2023 bakamuterera esimu akaba Deputy Director CID Commission of Police Chelimo Biata. Yamugamba agende ha IHK hospital habuze yabena junanizibwa kandi amale recording statement. Ayamusomere akaba SSP Mbugu George. Then yagenda Katwe yamufuna bagenda airwaro kukola omulimo gwabaire nigwetagisibwa. Bwayakira airwaro akasangayo SP Akong Bibiana ne team. Then yachora yasangayo Commander CID Kangabo nabandi. Then bagenda mu reception ya HK bayebazawo admin assistant. Then bamugamba ekyabaire kibaleserawo nti bakani benda kubazawo na Mole Katanga bamale bamwandiko statement. Then ayabaira reception yayeta dokita omusajja yajja yayebazawo kandi bamugamba ekyabaire kibalese. Then ogwo dokita yabatwala mu room nali mole yabe natungira obujanjabi kandi amulyango bakasangawo omusirikale omusajja wa UPDF akabayikalire bata mu room bakasanga Katanga alimu. Then dokita yagambira mole Katanga yabazawo bana mole Katanga, then nabo bamara bayebazawo. Then we ono ali mu koti yagamba mole Katanga nti aizire kumwabuzawo akufa kumugenzi Henry Katanga. Then mole yabagamba we yamugamba takusobola kubaza kandi takusobola nokola statement abo kwa pressure yaye ikaberi aiguru muno. Bayamazire yatera boss waye, boss yamugamba garukeyo a police katwe ayeyongereyo ne mirimo yayendi. Then yayeyongerayo katwe no musirikale wayabaira izire nawe. Ibiro byokwezi 10 mwaka 2024 musirikale wa Isirege Chelimo Biata akamutera simu yamugamba ati mole Katanga bamukebeire, abadaktari bamukebeire bamugamba nti sazinu akusobola kubaza kandi okusobola umuya statement. Yamugamba agende ha high HK amwabuze deni amukolo statement. Deni we yayongerayo a high HK bwayakireyo akasangayo divisional CID officer SP Akong Bibiana na SSP Wathum Benson. Deni yatugamba akasangayo na basajja bandi babiri bayebazawo nkaba baloya bakatanga nti omu bamwetaga Kabega ondini bamweta Jet tumwebaze. Yachora yatugamba akasangayo Nance yayebazawo kandi yamugambira nomugaso gumulesere mwirwalo. Nance yakabatwara mu room nali mole Katanga yabaire hano bakagenda na Council Jet tumwebaze. Then bakagenda mu room na Akong Bibiana. We baikire mu room Council tumwebaze akagambira mole Katanga omugaso gubalesere. Then nawe yayebazawo yagambira mole Katanga kimulesere nti aizire kumwiyawo statement. Ya atugambire binu byona bakani babibaza mu rujungu. Atugambire ge habwakia koseze rujungu ntakahura Council tumwebaze na baza na client waye mu rujungu. Then na mole Katanga yagamba na wakusa kubaza rujungu kurungi. Then onu yamwabuza ebimukwataho byona yabimugambira. Yamugambira mabara ge byona yabihandika. Then yachora yamwabuza ebikaguzo kandi bayamazire bayabe na mukaguze bikaguzo oli na mugarukaga byona nabihandika. Amazire kuhandika Council tumwebaze akasaba byabaira handikire kandi yakyora yabisomamu. Bayamazire kusomamu yachora yamugariza empapura. Bayamugariza empapura akakyora yabisomeramu mole Katanga. Mole Katanga yabuza mbalize kurungi. Then Council yamugamba egyo statement yawo. Then bayamazire ya signinga mole Katanga ka signinga abuli lupapula na kanso tumwebaze nawe yasaba asaininge abuli lupapula nti kina kakikola kabata kwenda babihindule then nawali mukoti akateekawo amabala ge yateekawo ranka ye bwe yamaze yateekawo signature nekichweka nali yabe nakolera ne namba z'essimu bwe yamaze yasiima Mole Katanga bukubereza obwire yasiima na kanso bwokubawo uwe nakongu Bibiana barugayo mu room then yatugamba akusobola kwetegeza statement ejo ti inawo signature yaye kandi inakuba mu handwriting yaye bamwolekeze statement yatugamba niyo statement ya recordingire ti akagiandika ebiro by'okwezi 10 January mwaka 2024 takagiandika mu kaire ka saa 11 edakika 10 akabyandikira High HK Hospital kandi statement bagitaize mu koti mu record za koti exhibit. Thank you.